Hi everyone, it's Kenzie Knox and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm painting this nice little fantasy painting of a little pathway through some tree stumps, essentially, with some ingrown foliage and flowers, and it'll be really pretty in the end. So starting off, I drew in the sky using orange and light blue violet to create these purplish clouds, and then set in some light yellow in between the clouds. And then I drew in some tall little trees for the background, and it's really important to keep the background lighter than the foreground, which will be much darker in color and shade. And so as I build up the forest, you can see I'm creating some logs, some bigger tree stumps in the midground and the foreground. I'm just basically sketching out or painting in what items I want to be very visible and apparent. So I'm creating all these swirly like tree trunks using different shades of brown, but mainly using raw umber in the foreground and using a lighter brown shade in the background. And so as I continue painting this, I hope you enjoy it and can somewhat follow along. You'll see me going over and over a lot of the painting as acrylic paints dry a lot. You need to go over them in multiple times in order to get a vibrant shade of color. They tend to fade or dull if you don't go over them. So you'll see me creating multiple layers over the trees and the foliage. But here you can see me shading in with yellow to really create a sense of background. By doing this, by creating a filter, you can really separate the foreground and the background, and that's what I was just doing there. And here I'm starting to create some foliage or some grass lines in the mid to foreground. This should have been done probably beforehand, but I wasn't really thinking that far ahead. This is something I just started painting and continued painting as I went along. And so hopefully you can stick with me if you decide to paint this too. I would love to see your version. So if you do end up painting this, please send me a link so I can see your painting, or send me a picture, a photograph of it. That would be wonderful. But anywho, I hope you enjoyed this painting as much as I did. It was really relaxing. It took me several days to paint. And so I hope you, again, enjoy the process as I paint this in. Here you can see me taking a dark shade of green to create some sorts of foliage using a little mop brush that I have, a mini mop brush. If you don't have a mop brush, you can always use a filbert brush. That works fine too. Keeping in mind where I want the sunlight to come in, which will be a lighter shade of green. Keeping in mind that the foreground should be darker than the background too. So if you need to, you can always add a little bit of white to create like a minty green shade, like the foliage in the trees, if you want that to be in the far background, and keeping the foreground more rich in color. I try to stick with the olive green shades with the highlighting too, just to create just like a misty forest sort of feeling, which I feel like I may have caught. I hope I caught in the end, or I hope you feel that I caught in the end. That was my main goal, to create like a misty fantasy forest painting, a pathway through the forest that you could travel through. I do end up adding some flowers in the end, so you can never go wrong with foliage using a mop brush. So just create that foliage, and wherever you think the sun will hit, you can always go lighter to a yellow shade if needed to create those highlights. And here I'm going over the tree trunks again, trying to create all the little bark shapes, I guess you could say, of all different sizes and colors and shades, and just to create the right texture for what I'm going for, and where the sunlight again would hit the trees and the foliage and whatnot. And as I create the flowers, which will be happening quite shortly, I use different shades of purples and magentas and pinks and even hot pink and even fluorescent pink and fluorescent red, just to add just a little touch of something, and even added in some ferns too. You can never go wrong with ferns or flowers. And so I hope you enjoyed this painting, and if you did, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm Kenzie Knox, and I am an acrylic artist, and I really do hope you enjoyed this painting tutorial that I have provided for you. Please remember to give me a thumbs up as well. Okay, so as I've wrapped this painting up, I hope that you have learned something, or that you at least enjoyed the painting itself. But until next time, I'll see you guys later, and thank you for watching. Okay, bye-bye.